Okay, so it is 10:35 where I'm at on Monday. So it's been now 2 days since I saw BTS. I saw them Saturday night. I want to think that the concert ended around 10:30, 11ish. It feels like it might have been 10:30, but it could have been 11ish. I'm not sure. But I did a vlog about my concert experience. The editing was shit, but I was so incredibly tired. So at this point, you're just gonna have to deal with what I put out there. But there were some things that I didn't talk about, just because I was busy living experiences at the time, and I know I had somebody ask me about what merchandise I got, and that didn't appear at all in the vlog. So I was going to show you guys the merchandise I got, and I was going to talk a little bit about some of the things that were experiences I had, or things that I wanted to go more in depth about, but just there wasn't any way to put that into the original vlog video. So we're starting with just my ticket because I think probably for context wise, knowing the video clips that I had, you probably want to know where I sat. So this is the printout from after they scanned my electronic ticket. I was in section 206, row D, seat 8, and my daughter was in seat 7. So we were pretty close because our section, the closest seats in that section were seat A, or row A. So we were 4 seats away from the very front of the seated area. So we were really, really close, really, really close. So that's that. But now on to merch. There is one merch item that I'm not going to show you. It is my daughter's cell phone case. I bought the Love Yourself Tour cell phone case for iPhone 7 for her, but her phone's on the charger in her room, so that's why I'm not showing it right now. But I bought two of these, which are the mini photo card sets, which I don't know why they call them mini, because these cards are way bigger than a regular photo card that would come in an album. Um, and had I been smart, I would have bought 6 of these instead of just buying the two. I bought the two because I wasn't trying to go really overboard with my spending. I had made up my mind that I wasn't going to spend more than $200 in merchandise. I ended up spending 150, because I think the cell phone case was like 40 bucks. And that was probably the priciest item next to the towel and the program book that I bought that night. But I've since seen these full sets selling for like 50 bucks a piece, which is outlandish. What? $50. I have a couple friends that are going to be going to some concerts soon that I'm going to ask them if they have any room or any ability to get me some extras of this, because I did not realize that they were random. I guess I thought they were all the same. Like if you bought 2 packs of this, each pack would be identical. Because I've never been to a BTS concert before, I've never bought merchandise before. So yeah, I did not realize that it's a random chance thing. So if you buy these, each pack is different, and they all have numbers on the back to let you know, like 1 of 8, 1 of 12, whatever else. So yeah, definitely if you have the option to buy these in the merchandise booth, get as many as they'll let you have. If you have a friend going with you, tell them to get as many as they'll let you have for trading purposes and possibly for resale purposes. Not saying you should scam people, but I think if you were to double the price of what you paid for this, you'd do okay and it would be fair. So this is the first set. And these are the cards that came in my first set. You get one of each member, plus you get one kind of like group card. Not the whole group, but like a grouping, I should say. That's probably a better word for it. So this is the Namjoon card that came in this pack right here. Oh, and they're like really stuck together. I don't know what it is, but like static. So this is the Namjoon card, and then this is the back, and you can see what I was talking about the number 1 of 8. So yeah, apparently there's like 8 different variations of this card, and then there's different variations of the grouping cards. Then we have Suga. This is 5 of 8. Jin, 4 of 8. J-Hope, 7 of 8. Jimin, 1 of 8. Taehyung, 6 of 8. And then Jungkook, which when my daughter saw this card, she was like, "What? You can't even see his face." And I was like, "You're right. You really can't see much of his face." And then 1 of 8 there. And then this was the grouping card that I got, which is Namjoon and Jungkook. And this was 3 of 12. So there's 12 different grouping cards that come in the set, and then 8 individual cards. So that's the first set here, and this was actually the most affordable item that they had at the merchandise line besides the eco bag. They had these Love Yourself white eco bags that were $5 a piece, which was the cheapest thing, but this was $10 a piece, so that was a pretty good price. Now let's see what was in the other set. So this is another Namjoon card, and like I said, you get 1 of each. This is 4 of 8. Suga, 1 of 8. Jin, 5 of 8. J-Hope, 1 of 8. Jimin, 8 of 8. Taehyung, 1 of 8. Jungkook, 5 of 8. And then part of Hyungline, 5 of 12. Did I wait a long time in line? Absolutely. I waited far longer in line than I ever planned to. For those of you who haven't gone to the concerts yet but are planning to, I'm going to tell you about something that really pissed me off about the way that the Merchandise Village was organized. And this is just something that I hope that Big Hit will take into account the next time they come to America. These items are reselling for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times the price. I saw an eco bag for sale for $100. It was $5 at the venue. I wasn't able to get one because they sold out really fast. The reason why the merchandise sold out so fast was not only because the merchandise was hot and people wanted it, but because you did not have to have a ticket to get into the Merchandise Village. So if you were a scalper and you know what this stuff resells for on the premiums market, you literally could camp out overnight at the venue, get into the Merchandise Village, buy everything you wanted to, and leave. So I got in line around 12:30, 12:40, I think. I didn't actually know what time the Merchandise Village opened. Honestly, I didn't even know about the Merchandise Village until 9 o'clock at night on Friday, because that's when Access sent the email letting people know what time the Merchandise Village opened up, where it was going to be at, that you had to have clear bags to get into the venue, all the fun stuff that's actually essential to concert going. I didn't find out anything about that the night before, and I came in on like a midnight flight. So I figured going to the venue around 12:30, there should be something left, because obviously the only people who got this memo are people that have concert tickets, correct? I don't know if maybe people knew that you didn't have to have a ticket to get in the Merchandise Village, so they figured whatever time it opens, it doesn't matter because I'll be here in line 2 days before. But got in line 4 hours after being in line, got inside, and every single stitch of apparel was sold out. All the t-shirts, both colors, the hats, all the hoodies. The only thing that wasn't sold out, that was a piece of apparel that I didn't buy because I just was like, what the point, were the sweat bracelets, the sweatband bracelets, because I would never wear it. I wouldn't have anything to do with it. But the same apparel that in the venue cost between $50, $60 is reselling for $400 on eBay right now. It is absolutely ridiculous. But then like things like the fans, the individual member fans, those sold out super quick. The individual pictures, the bigger pictures, those sold out super quick. The individual named tags for the light sticks sold out super quick. The light rings sold out very, very quick. Like I got my light ring, and 5 minutes after I got my light ring, they were announcing that the light rings were sold out. Gosh, almost anything you could think of was sold out. Some of the iPhone cases started to sell out. And what they've done, which at least was somewhat fair, they had a quota of how much stuff they would sell on one day. So if you came back on Sunday, if you were still in town, you could line up at like butt crack in the morning and go get you some merch if you felt like it. But for those of us who had to go back home the very next day, that wasn't an option. So the stuff that sold out the day I was there was no going back the very next day to get merch because I was going to be gone. So that was a thing. So this was the first bit of merch I got. The next bit of merch I got, which I already just mentioned, hey, was this, which is the BTS light ring. So they do limit the amount of merch per person, by the way. Make sure I mention that. So like the maximum amount of these I would have been able to get was 3. So I could get 3 of these. I think for the light rings, they were limited to 3. The only thing that I think was unlimited at the venue were the light sticks, because I did see a guy walk out the venue with an arm filled with 6 of the light sticks. And he didn't like he was going to anybody's concert. He like he was in line to get merchandise and leave. But yeah, that was the only thing that seemed like they had an unlimited stock of. When you go inside the merchandise village, there were 4 different lines. There was a line for the light sticks, a line for the other merch, a line to take a picture against the big wall that had a photograph of the entire group, and then a line to get into the BTS studio, which if you didn't already have a pass to go to BTS studio prior to the event, you weren't allowed to get in even if you stood in line forever. So thought to put that out there. But yeah, there were limits to how much merchandise you could get, but there was no limits as to who merchandise. Sorry about that, guys. You know it's not a good live stream if I don't get cut off. So what I was saying was, it didn't matter who could get in there. So even if you went with 15 people, unrelated, and you each were limited to 3 items, all 15 of you could get 3 items, even if none of you had concert tickets. You could all get stuff. And that was the part that I thought was kind of unfair, because, you know, part of the concert experience is getting the merch. Like if you didn't have a concert to go see Shiny World 5, you weren't getting any merch because you had to get into the venue to get the merch. This was, because it's a convention center, it has like these separate rooms outside of the actual concert space. So you didn't have to go into the concert space to get to the merchandise. And it just gave a lot of opportunities for a lot of very kind of shisty, opportunistic people to rob true fans of the opportunity to get merch that they've been waiting in line for hours in the Texas sun to have. But back to what I was saying, here is the light ring, official light finger ring. The kind of pattern that's also on the bigger box, which I think is cute, how it looks a lot like the big light stick. That was a cute detail to make them like, you know, big baby and little baby. So this is the ring, and it is extremely detailed. Like it looks just like the big bomb, and it comes on through a twist. So you twist it, and that's what makes it come on, even though mine is acting kind of weird. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I was gonna say it worked the day I got it. I know it works. But I've had problems with the big light stick, so it would make sense that I would have problems with the small light stick. But that is what the little light stick looks like when it is lit up. It is very, very pretty. And during the concert that I attended on the Saturday, when Jin came out at the end of the concert in their merch, he had like 4 of these on his hand, and I was like, you were so lucky. I would love to have had 4, but they weren't cheap. I want to say this was like either $25 or $35, so it wasn't a cheap item, so I didn't get more than one. The next item I have is probably not the most exciting item in the world, but I got it just because, I don't know, for some reason I just thought it was a nice item. Now, hindsight being 2020, this may be an item that I do a giveaway for, because I just don't know what I'm going to do with it. But at the time that I was purchasing, and given that there was a limited supply of what was left by the time I got inside the merchandise village, I thought this was a good thing. But yeah, like I said, I just don't know how I'll use it, because I'm not gonna use it to dry off. Hello, I'm not gonna use it to dry off or anything. I don't want to ruin it, so that's why I'm just saying I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. This is the BTS World Tour towel, official merch. This is pinned on, and then it doesn't have anything on the back, as you can tell. Everything is on the front, and on the front it says "Love Yourself." This is a nice towel. It's very soft. It is made very well. I could see like you being able to use it and it not being irritating. It's not very thick, but it's not super thin like I've seen some concert towels. It's made really nice. But yeah, I have no idea what I would do with this. So that's why I think perhaps this is going to be a giveaway item at some point in the future. I've had a couple of ideas of what I wanted to do for some giveaways, because I have a few extra copies of some of the albums for this particular comeback. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not promising, but we'll see. So there was that. And then the last major piece of merchandise that I got during the concert is this program book, the Love Yourself program book. So here's the front. Here is the back. And then inside, it was actually pretty interesting. It wasn't what I thought. I thought this was going to be a program book full of like photos from the concert. Not necessarily, how do I put this? I thought that maybe, and this is going to sound really crazy, I thought that maybe what they were going to do is like have the boys do like a run through of how the concert would be, and there would be kind of action shots from like dress rehearsal, and those would be in here. That's not what this is. This is something totally different, but it's actually super duper nice. And of all the things I got in the merchandise line, this is my favorite thing. So let's start from the beginning. It's printed on really nice paper for $35. This was a steal. I definitely recommend getting it if you're trying to decide what you want to do. This was worth your money. It reminds me a lot of a concert book that I bought for Jonghyun during his inspiration series of concerts. So I like the style. Now this is my favorite part. Inside, they've got interviews with all the members. Each member kind of gets their own solo section. And they have the interview questions in Korean with Korean answers, and then they have them translated into English with English answers, which is always my favorite thing in the world when it comes to doing this kind of stuff, to go ahead and do double translations, because they know that they have a huge international market, and the main language that their international fans have in common is English. So I just think it's phenomenal that they decided to do that throughout this entire book. There's Suga, which, is that a real flower crown? Yeah, it is a real flower crown. That's funny. That's really funny to me. Because Ratmon's just holding pictures, but Suga's got like a whole flower nest. We have Jin. We have J-Hope. Jimin. B. Jungkook. And then next is Tour Level. The pages on here are really thick. It looks super glossy, but it's really not. It's a weird kind of glossy matte thing going on. I like it a lot. I really do. All right, so there's these tour level things, which I'm not really sure how to describe this. I think this is like a personality chart is what this is. But yeah, it's very interesting if you can decipher it. Personally, I don't understand it, so I really can't say anything. And this is one of the few parts of the program book that wasn't actually translated into English. So that kind of stinks, because I would love to read all this. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to get my camera out and translate in order to understand what the heck is going on here. I don't ever see any American artists use those personality grids, but I've seen it on like a Super Junior item before. So I'm guessing that that must be a popular personality grid technique in Korea. Okay, so more photographs of everybody. Cute. Hello, Anthony. More photographs here. And I think this was the shoot that was used to make the background photograph that everybody was able to take pictures in front of inside of the merchandise village. That's where me and my daughter took our big picture at, was at the big picture inside the merchandise village. Also, if you haven't been to a concert yet and you're getting ready to go to a BTS concert, please bring some kind of protective ear covering. Um, the concert was good. Me and my daughter had an excellent time, but she had a lot of moments during the concert where she was very uncomfortable because the sound was so loud, and not like, oh, turn up the music, we're having fun. It was the sound of the music trying to compete with the sound of the fans screaming at the highest pitches possible. And I know that for myself, after we left the venue, my ears were still ringing until about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we left around 11 ish. So for a long time, I had just a solid kind of buzzing sound in my ear well after I had turned off any kind of sound device. I'm immediately after the concert, I felt like I was in a bubble. Like my ears were just like popped. But if you have sensitive ears, I definitely recommend bringing earphones because they're trying to build a sound system that can compensate for the loud noise of the crowd. And because of it, it just makes it to where it is one of the loudest places you've ever been in your life. And if you're not used to loud sounds in your everyday life, it's shocking and it probably will be very uncomfortable for you. So definitely bring your protective ear gear if you can. A thing I'd bring, depending on where you're at, I would bring water. Water, especially if you plan on waiting in the merchandise lines. Bring as much water as you feel comfortable carrying around with you, because where I was at, we were at the Fort Worth Convention Center, and there's actually a park behind the Fort Worth Convention Center. So when you go around the building, there's this kind of like concreted, cobblestoney park, and the Texas sun is beating off of this kind of concrete surface, and it's super humid because it ended up raining later that day. So there was a bunch of humidity that had been building up prior to the time it actually rained. So you're sweating a ton because of the humidity and the asphalt and the fact that it's Texas, so the weather is like 90 degrees outside. It is something that can be for a very dangerous medical situation. So you definitely want to take care of your health no matter what. I recommend bringing like protein bars with you, just because getting in and out of line, if you don't have anybody with you, that's not going to be an option. So you want to make sure you have food. All of the food places around the venue that we were at, the lines were hour-long lines. So it's not even an option to like break the line, even if you have a friend, to go get something and come back, because you probably will be inside the merchandise village by the time your friend comes back with your whatever you ordered, because it is just that hectic in the area around the venue. And I'm not even talking about this stuff anymore. Sorry about it, guys. I forgot this was another section that wasn't translated. It was nice that in between like group dance numbers, they would do their solo stages. And I like that because of the way that the album is structured, the Answer album, you already knew that everybody's solo stage was going to be whatever song was their solo song on the Answer album. It made for a nice long tour or a long concert. It made for a lot of really nice moments because they would show transition videos that would let you know whose solo was coming up. So you had, I think the first transition video focused on Jungkook and J-Hope, and then J-Hope came out first and did his solo stage, and then Jungkook came out and did his solo stage. Um, However, the concentration for this tour was on the new album, which is fine. I get it. But if you've never had the opportunity to go to a BTS concert prior to now, which I never did, I don't think they ever came close to where I have been, or just something happened I didn't find out until after the fact. There's a lot of the early catalog that gets forgotten. I mean, they did do things from the Most Beautiful Moments in Life, of course, because that was the album series that turned everything around for BTS. Like, BTS that you see now didn't start with DNA. It started really and truly probably with I Need You, and then Dope, and then Run. Like, it was just back to back stunners. But there had been a buzz building up for BTS with, you know, Oh Are You Late To, School Love Affair, Dark and Wild, those albums. But yeah, I Need You definitely was the big kind of door opening for them. And I don't know if it's maybe because they either are embarrassed about the earlier songs, or they just don't feel a personal connection with those songs anymore, which happens as you grow up. But they didn't perform any songs prior to Most Beautiful Moments in Life, which is a shame because War on Hormone is a great song. I'm not a big fan of Danger, but I know a lot of people are. I really like Tomorrow. No, I like No. There's a lot I would have loved to have heard from their early stuff. And they did a medley of a lot of the songs that were prior to the Love Yourself series. They mostly focused on the Love Yourself series songs. But I really missed being able to hear some of those older songs and seeing full choreography for those older songs. So if this was your first BTS experience and you've been a fan for a while, you're not going to get to see that. And that's unfortunate. But I get why they did that, because that's just the way it's done. So it's not anything that's new or things they're doing that other people don't do. You know, I've seen several Shiny DVDs, and there's a few favorites from way back in the catalog they do, but for the most part, anytime they do a new concert series, it's to promote the new work. And so, like I said, it's not something that I'm unfamiliar with. It's just something where I wish I had had a chance to see them when those other songs were being performed, because I just don't know when there'll ever be a time that we'll see it again. And that's sad. That's sad. So that's all the merch that I bought. And even that little bit of merch, like I said, was about $150. So the merch ain't cheap. There's affordable things, to be sure, but it's not cheap. So be prepared to bring your coin. You can pay with card, you can pay with cash. That's not a problem. There were some people that came in there with fistfuls of cash, but I mean, it's up to you how you want to do it. We believe in your galaxy. These were banners that were tucked between the seats where I was at. If you were on the GA level, they had someone at the door giving you these banners, so that's how you got them. My banner looks slightly molested, but I had to stuff it into a backpack and fly back to Colorado, so, you know, I did the best I could. And this is the back of the banner. Very, very nice. I like it a lot. The venue was nice. The venue was really nice. I've never been to a concert like that before. Like, I've been to concerts. Don't get me wrong. I've been to concerts, but I've never been to like a concert for like a real A-list musical artist before. So I've never been to a concert where like full pyrotechnics are being used. Even when I've been to like festivals, summer jams, stuff like that, usually the stage is kept pretty minimum because it's a safety thing. This concert, they had like glitter bombs, and you know, they had this gun that shot out this like tinsely stuff. It was all over the place. But it was like a big it was like a Taylor Swift Beyonce kind of concerty thing, which was really impressive. It was super impressive. I was very glad to see it. Um, I think though that the most important part about seeing BTS live for me was that when I first went to go see Shiny in concert, um, I needed to see them because I had admired them for so long. And I was at a period in my K pop life where I was starting to get really jaded and just really kind of upset with K pop. And I kind of needed Shiny to restore my faith that even if all artifice is fake, the talent, the the essence of the group is real. And seeing Shiny in person definitely did that for me. For BTS, seeing them in concert was a reminder to forget all of the BS that goes on around them, their name, their fandom, people who hate them, people who love them, people who are indifferent, people who just don't give a damn. Um, there's just so much noise when it comes to BTS, really and truly. And it doesn't matter if you're a casual fan or you're a longtime fan, the noise makes it sometimes hard to remember how BTS got to where they are. It makes it hard to remember why you cared in the first place. And being at the concert, number one, being in line with a lot of people who just really were looking forward to seeing the group. They weren't caring about, petty stuff or record sales or anything like that. They were all there because they just really wanted to see the group. They weren't buying concert tickets to push up concert ticket sales. They bought concert tickets because they wanted to see this happen. And then going inside and hearing the crowd know all the words and having such a diverse crowd. Yes, there were a lot of people of Asian descent, but there were a lot of black people, there were a lot of white people, there were a lot of people from other countries. I saw a lot of fans from Europe that happened to have made the trek over. There were even a couple of girls that still had their luggage on them that were in line behind me in the merch line. But the two girls in front of me, one was from Puerto Rico, one was from Italy. Like, all manner of being came to the venue to support them, and to see kind of the genuine affection from the crowd, to hear BTS live, see them perform in person, and feel their energy, be in the same room with them. It was a great reminder of why BTS is now my second favorite boy band. And it's not because of the hype train, and it's not because of the stuff that they've been doing recently. The fact that I missed the old material in itself speaks to how long I've kind of had a connection with them and how deep that connection was from a very early time. But just knowing that, like, there was so much to look forward to in a BTS concert. Like, it wasn't just, oh, I can't wait to hear the songs from the new album, but it's like, I have 7 or 8 albums worth of material that I would love to hear from you tonight. We just did 2.5 hours, and some of that time was filled with medleys, and there were still songs I would have loved for you to have touched on while you were here. And so it just brought home everything that I loved about them. It gave me an opportunity to love them without the specter of all the drama that comes with loving them. And it made me look forward to everything they're going to do in the future. I definitely look forward to seeing them again in concert if I can. I don't know when that will be because I think it's too soon to be planning that kind of stuff. But that reconnection, that's what the concert was about. It was definitely about that reconnection and getting back to kind of the heart of why you would do this anyway. It's not everybody that I would take the red eye to go see and the red eye to come home for. Like, it was a Herculean feat on the part of both myself and my daughter to get this coordinated because we were literally a fly in, fly out. But I only do that for the ones that matter. And BTS is one of the ones that matters. I could tell you about every single member and kind of what they added to the show. They individually all were just so incredibly charming, but as a group, as a whole, one of the things that they did really well was kind of played with each other. Definitely there were certain members that were higher up on the skinship scale. Like, I would say Jimin and Taehyung and Jin were more skinshipy than anybody else. Suga being the very least playful person on stage. Not that he was like bitter or anything else. I think it was more the fact that he like really is connected with the performance aspect of a show. Like you could tell when he was performing his solo, what was important to him is making sure that his raps were perfect, making sure he didn't forget his choreo, and making sure he delivered everything he said he was going to deliver. And because of it, he came across kind of overly serious, but at the same time, he didn't miss a beat. And so I got it. I definitely got it. So while he might not have looked as happy about everything all the time, it's because of the high level of concentration he was putting into the day. And for that, I definitely have an appreciation. For Jin, I kind of felt bad for Jin a little bit because I feel like it's only been in recent songs that he's gotten a lot more attention, or maybe his parts have been more focal points of songs. So a lot of time the camera would do close-ups of the face of the person who was singing at that moment. And when that would happen, if they were doing a medley, sometimes the medley would be a highlighted section for Jimin or a highlighted section for Taehyung or Jungkook, but not as many of the medleys highlighted a section that Jin was a part of. So he didn't really get as much face time. But whenever he did get FaceTime, he tried his very best to make sure that he was giving something extra to the audience. So like when they all had times where they needed to introduce himself, he made sure to cut a joke here, give a laugh there, make bunny teeth. Like he just was really good in that way. Like he's the definition of a team player. So even if he's not the star of the football team, he's probably your best defensive end. He's probably your lead tackle. And I really appreciated that about him. It brought a lot of really good kind of teamwork connection vibe to everything that was going on. And his solo stage was beautiful. He started out with a piano, then got up and sang, and it was just really, really lovely. Jungkook, that little kid needs whooping. He is just so kind of like, cocky. And I don't mean that in like the way that fans tease about him being a fuckboy, because that's high key inappropriate. What I mean is like when the crowd would cheer, he would do that thing kind of like The Rock where he'd like put his hand to his ear and then tell the crowd to yell louder. And you could tell that he was like, yeah, I know I'm hot shit. I know you guys are loving this. I know you're eating this up. And it was just like, if you weren't so talented, I would hate you right now. But he did a great job. Dancing wise, he was really good. He sounded really good. I don't know how much of their vocals were assisted during the concert. I'm sure a certain amount was. Otherwise, all we would hear is them breathing heavily. But he performed very well. He performed very well. I appreciated him a lot, and he tried really hard with his English. He did end up having to use a translator, I think, towards the end of the concert, but in the beginning, he tried really, really hard, and it was very nice to see, and he is extremely adorable. His smile is just, it's so cute. Jimin had a tough time during the concert. You have to understand, Texas is humid anyway. Like, it just is. But it also rained right before the concert, and the air was super thick. And so right after they performed the opening number, Idol, everybody, and I mean everybody on stage, stopped and ran for the water bottles and were just guzzling them down before they could talk or do anything else. And Jimin, I think he was extremely tired from that. But then when they did their second section where the group was trying to talk with the audience, he had some type of like headset issues, and he went to talk and then just stopped and took his ear connector piece off, and then Rapmon ran backstage to do something and then came back and gave him either a new earpiece or a new microphone. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I think that kind of slowed a bit of his momentum because of the technical difficulty. And there were several times where he sat on the side of the stage, and it didn't seem like he was sitting on the side of the stage so he could interact with fans. It seemed more like he was sitting on the side of the stage because maybe he was a little bit tired or something. But he would be really quick to like jump up if he knew he had a part coming. So he didn't stay on the ground when it was his time to sing because that would have messed up the camera work. But I could tell like in the very beginning of the show, he really struggled to get his breath or maybe to kind of catch his speed on a lot of things. But by the time his solo came up and they were doing some of the medleys, he was back into full form. And by the time the concert ended, he was like totally at 100, jumping all over the place, you know, initiating skinship, like all the things. And the kind of bright, playful Jimin that we look forward to seeing was there. Whereas the very beginning, he seemed overly serious and just very like he was concentrating, almost like he was down. And like I said, I think that was just because of the technical difficulties he had experienced, and also the humidity, because like everybody was dying from the humidity. Uh, J-Hope was trying to be a bias wrecker. He was really trying his hardest. Every group has that one person who is like, I'm not tired yet. Let's keep going. That was him. And, you know, megawatt smile, always smiling, dancing a lot. Like, it was just, he was lovely. But I will say, he scared the shit out of me. His solo performance was probably the solo performance I enjoyed the least, because there was a raised platform that he was dancing on, and he was doing like these large kind of airplane twirls on the edge of this raised platform, and that platform had to be probably maybe 10 feet off the ground. I was so scared that boy was going to twirl his ass off that platform and break his neck that I couldn't enjoy it. Like, I cringed solid fist the entire time until that thing came down. I couldn't stand it. And I don't know, I guess it's just me, because I'm just one of those people, I always anticipate the worst happening. But I was so scared for him that half of his solo performance I could barely take. I just couldn't take it, because it was just too anxiety filling for me. But once that part was over, the rest of his solo performance was really nice. He had some great dancers with him. They performed very well. And throughout the remainder of the show, he danced his ass off. Like, even if he was just like casually dancing, the boy moves like liquid water. So yeah, it was really nice to see him. He's one of those people, though, that I could see why some folks have a hard time taking him seriously as a rapper. Not because he's not talented, but because there's something about J-Hope that's like almost so perfect that it almost seems like he's pretending to be whatever it is he's doing. So like, everything he does is just like at 1,000. So it's kind of hard to believe somebody who's at 1,000 all the time like that could be taken serious as like a lyricist or, you know, a hip-hop head, because he seems so carefree and so kind of like able to do all this stuff without effort. So what kind of effort is he putting in? And I think that probably was a lot of the drive for his solo work on his mixtape, because he kind of needed people to understand, yes, I am definitely this energetic person, and I like to be carefree, and I like to have fun, and I keep a smile on my face, but that doesn't mean I don't work extremely hard on my craft. And so I got it. I definitely got it. I got it why people might underestimate him and think that he's kind of like the rapper add-on, but he's definitely not. He just has this kind of like effortless way about him that makes it very difficult to believe that he's serious sometimes, because it just doesn't take him any, it just doesn't seem like any sweat off his brow to do what he does so perfectly well. Taehyung, I really enjoyed Taehyung. That boy is beautiful. Like, in person, he's unbelievably gorgeous. His hair, not my favorite haircut for him, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. He wore glasses at the end of the concert. I thought they were adorable. I want to see him in glasses all the time now, but he threw them into the crowd at the end of the concert, so I'm assuming they were just for decoration, which is sad. I was hoping I had another glasses buddy. He was great. So good, like facial expression wise. Anytime you needed somebody to like give you a great big smile or to make a goofy face, like, he's just one of those people, like, when the term I wear my heart on my sleeve, that's him. Like, any thought that was passing his mind, it just seemed like it completely translated to his face. There was no filter. And so there would be times that he would just like be standing there and be in awe of the crowd, and you could tell like it wasn't rehearsed, it wasn't choreographed, like he just really felt that way, and it made you kind of appreciate the situation as well. Like, he was kind of that reminder that for them, this is also a big deal. So while it's a big deal for you as a concert goer to be there and to be able to experience all that, for him, for the boys, it is a huge deal to be in a place where they sold it out in 7 minutes. It's a huge deal for them to be able to see all these people who do not speak Korean know every single word to the song. Like I mentioned to you about Suga being super serious, and I think that maybe it sounded like he was disconnected from the performance, or maybe the humanity of the performance. But at the very beginning of I Need You, when his verse is supposed to start, he didn't sing a single word. He didn't rap a lyric at all. Instead, he held up the microphone and let the audience do it, and the look on his face was like, I'm checking to see if you can do this, and now that I realize that you can do this, I'm not even going to start because I just have to hear it because it's unbelievable. And Taeyang definitely had that throughout the entire concert, that kind of like, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're doing this. This is amazing. What is our life? What is reality? Oh my God. Like, that was his body language throughout the whole thing, except for during, of course, the Singularity performance when he totally turned it up and he did the coat rack hand thing, which is still my favorite piece of choreography for 2018. Like, there has not been a single piece of choreography that has been as memorable or as kind of like whoa shit to me as that particular piece of choreography. And it's so subtle, and it's like, it's not in your face, but there's just something about the fact that he works that hand and reacts to his hand in a way that makes you think that like there's a legit person on the other side of that frame, but it's just him. And to see him do it live, it was like, wow, you are incredibly talented, sir. And then lastly, because I haven't talked about him yet, my baby Namjoon. First of all, that man is an Adonis. He is tall and he is lean and he's got the longest fingers and he's constantly pointing the fingers at you like he wants to grab you up and pull you close. He has such a leadership aura about him. I don't know how to describe it. Like, if he asked me to run into a fire with him, I probably would, because I trust that he could get us out of there. Like, he just gives off like, I got you. I'm taking care of this. This is my deal. And I was hypnotized. Like, I just couldn't look away from him. I could not look away from him. Every time he came on the screen, I was just stunned. And he's beautiful. Oh my gosh. His skin is golden and his hair was off his forehead and it's kind of goldeny. Like, he just looked like a bronze god. And his face was so sexy. And it was so weird because I have a bunch of Namjoon photo cards where he is making the stupidest derp faces on earth. And then this walking piece of charm and charisma comes out, and I'm like, where is this guy when it's time to do photo cards? Where is this guy during photo shoots? What is going on? You look so damn goofy every other time, but here you are trying to talk me out of my drawers, and I don't understand. But oh my gosh, he was just amazing. Oh, he was so good. He was so good. He sounded just like the records. And he's a way better dancer than people give him credit for. I think that Namjoon either has a bad back or bad knees, because the part that makes it very difficult for him is that he doesn't bend down very low, and because he's a little bit taller than some of the other members, it makes him seem like he's not really moving as quickly or as much as everybody else. But I think it's because he has further to travel, so it is harder for him. But my gosh, he is so nice. He's so nice. And I don't know who did the camera work to make sure that every time his face was on the screen, he looked like a whole snack, like a Golden Corral buffet. But oh my gosh, he needs to hire that person to photograph him every single time it's time to take a photograph, because they got all the best angles. All the best angles. Find some fan cams. Find fan cams and look at Namjoon's face. Like, there was not a single bad shot of this man. He looked good every single time they showed him. And I was just blessed to be there. I was just lucky enough to be there. But whoo, baby, that man, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that went through my head watching him. One of them being, you ain't that young. Hello. But yeah, he was fantastic. Oh, he was fantastic. He made my night. He made my night. But yeah, I think I've talked about every single thing I could talk about. The only thing that I didn't mention, and it doesn't have anything to do with BTS, that's why I didn't think you'd be interested, but in terms of my experience going there and coming back, I had the worst luck in the world with my airline. The plane that was supposed to take me to Dallas had a flat tire, so my plane left late. And then my plane coming back to Denver could not dock at the airport because there was another plane in their spot, so we just had to sit on the runway for a while and wait for them to move their ass so that we can get in our parking space, which was kind of weird. I mean, what are the chances of that happening? But yeah, that's just side note stuff that really doesn't mean anything to anyone but me. But at the end of the day, I'm so glad I did this. I'm so glad I shared this experience with my daughter. I think it's something that she'll never forget. I know I'll never forget it. And yeah, if you can get even a cheap seat ticket to go see BTS, highly recommend. 10 out of 10. It was a wonderful experience, time of my life. It was nice. It was really, really nice, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. This was the most expensive concert experience I've ever had in my life, though, so if I did it again with like that, I still need several months notice so I can get my monies together, because I spent $440 on tickets, $360 on airline tickets. I spent $150 on merch, and I probably spent like $100 on the ground on like gas and food, water, that kind of stuff. So by the end of the trip, this was about $1,000 trip for me. And that's nothing to sneeze at. So, I mean, for maybe one single person, you cut that in half and you're only spending about $500. That's doable. But for two people, it's a lot. It's a lot. So that's why I say, I mean, I'd do it again in a heartbeat, but you got to give me time to prepare, because it was a lot to try to come up with in a short amount of time, for sure. But yeah, that's everything. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Was there anything I didn't talk about that you were hoping I would talk about? Bye! Because I can't think of anything at all. I would talk about the set list, but I can't really talk about the set list because I don't remember a lot of it. Yeah, I was there, but I mean, there were so many songs that were performed. Favorite solo? Favorite solo definitely was Namjoon. Yes, you missed everything, Jade. Favorite solo is Namjoon, hands down. Only because like I love him so much, so I couldn't. I would be lying if I said anything else. Now, if I had to come and talk about second favorite solo, I think it would be a tie between J-Hope and Taehyung, only because with J-Hope, he had so much energy in his performance. Who was the most fun to watch on stage? Definitely J-Hope. J-Hope was the most fun in terms of like dancing and smiling and performing and that kind of stuff. Like he definitely gave you plenty of energy, so that was a thing. But Taehyung, the Singularity choreography, like that was like a really big deal to see live, and so that's why I really took a lot of enjoyment from his performance. Probably the performance that was the not so strong solo to me was Suga's performance, and not because he wasn't doing a great job, but okay, to start his performance, a couch comes up on the stage, and when the couch came up, I really thought for a second he was going to do his entire performance on the couch. And I would have cracked up laughing. I was totally here for it. But, yes, he did. But instead, he got off the couch after like the first half of the first verse and came down and was doing choreography. And the choreography was very simple choreography. And it seemed like maybe he was trying so hard to like not mess up the lyrics and the choreography at the same time that it kind of made for a rather stiff performance. But that was just a thing. Whereas I think if he had been allowed to just lay on the couch the entire time, we would have gotten a much nicer performance, because he was very good to lay on the couch. And also he had like this bright red, like Hugh Hefner robe on, which was kind of funny to me. I don't know. It was just hilarious to me. Somebody asked about the light stick. The light stick thing that they had was really, really cool. I liked it a lot. I'm filming on my cell phone, so I can't really show you, but they have 2 different modes on the BTS app. And when you put it in concert mode and you set your seat, because they ask you to tell you what seat you're in and everything, once you set your seat and then you switch the light stick to the switch to concert mode after it's been paired up, it takes care of itself. Like, the night is done. It takes care of itself. And it was really nice that, you know, you didn't have to worry about like flickering or anything like that. You just basically had to hold it in your hand for the entire concert. That was it. That's all you had to do to make it happen, guys. So that was a really nice add-on. I thought it was really fun that at the very end of the concert, they did like a rainbow sea of lights, and my light ended up being Shiny's color. I was like, okay, do you guys know that I'm a show-all? Because you turned my light stick aqua blue, and it's really funny. Did you manage to get yours to work? Yes, I did. I had to stuff paper into the base in order to get it to work. So let me grab one real quick and I'll show you what I did. Talk amongst yourselves. Also, don't bring your box to the venue because you might end up having to throw it away, just FYI. So here is the light stick, and taking the base off, you can see I've stuffed the bottom with paper. And that was the only way to get this to push up high enough so that it would engage. There was no other way to do it. And I think that's a manufacturing flaw on the part of whoever did these for Big Hit. There was just, somebody didn't design it to where it met all the way, but that was the way I had to fix it. Are you going to keep this light stick or try to get a new one? I'm going to keep this. I mean, now that I found a workaround, I think I'm just going to keep it because I don't know what I'd have to go through in order to get a new one. And at this point, I don't think there's any guarantee that a new one would work any better. So if I can't guarantee that a new one would work without the piece of paper inserted in it, and this one actually does work, then there's no reason for me to get a new one because it works. It just needs a little assistance, apparently. Because I didn't have any problem with either light stick throughout the entire concert. So they work. It's just that one piece of engineering was faulty. Someone asked how long I waited in the merchandise line. I talked about that earlier in the video. I waited for a little over 4 hours. And I didn't get there as soon as the merchandise line opened. But the line I was in had to have been a several miles long line in order for it to take as long as it did. And I did mention earlier that if you're going to the concert, you don't have to have a ticket to buy merch. So there will be scalpers out there buying all of the good merch before any of the fans can get their hands on it. So just, you know, be warned, be wise. So like Jade, if you're not going to the concert but you want to buy merch from the concert, show up at like 3 in the morning and get in line, and you can buy whatever merch you need to because they're not going to ask for your ticket when you go inside the merchandise village, which I think is unfair, high-key unfair, but whatever. 'Tis what it is. I'm still very bitter about it. Still very bitter about it. Because there's just so many people like taking advantage. There's so many people who are going to be out here buying up all the stuff. And it's just, it sucks. How are the fans at the concert? Any stories? Stories from fans at the concert. Most of the people I around were really cool. I mentioned that the 2 girls in line in front of me and my daughter were, one was from Puerto Rico, one was from Italy, but their parents are in the military and they were based out of Wichita Falls, so they drove them to the concert. And the one little girl was talking to me and she's like, I've been a fan of BTS since 2014. I love them so much and they're just everything. And she's like, yeah, so I was like 8 when I got into BTS, and now we're in 2018, and I'm just like, I can't believe I'm finally getting to see them in person. I'm like, this child is 12. This child is 12, and her parents have dropped her off to go see BTS with this long ass line, this swell of humanity. What? But you know what? that girl was there and she was lovely and I appreciated seeing her, and I'm glad that the children are being exposed to quality music. I'll say the biggest story is not from fans. The biggest story is from the asshole looky-loos who were driving up and down the street during the concert. Them people need to have their asses handed to them. So many people were driving down the street with their windows open talking about, what's going on out here? What are you guys doing? I've never heard of that before. I actually had a grown lady walk up to me while I was in line and say, do you ever ask yourself what you're doing? And at first I thought she was like a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm like, I don't know what you mean. And she's like, I mean, like, what is all this? What are you doing here? Now, I'm the only adult, like real grown-ass adult, surrounded by kids. And so a good thing she asked me, because I think if she had asked one of the kids near me, I'd have told her to get her old ass somewhere and go sit down. But I told her, no, I don't worry about why I'm doing this. This is no different than you waiting in line to go see Elvis. And she goes, well, I wouldn't have waited for him either. And then she walks off. But I want to say, listen, you old bitch, just because you don't have the money to come see this concert, just because you don't have the stamina to wait in line like I do, just because you're mad because somebody else might have a worldview while you're closed up and hating everybody else is doing some shit you can't do, go find something else the fuck to do. Quit harassing these babies out here. These people want to have a good time, and you have nothing better to do than to try to get all in their face and insult them for just trying to live their fucking lives. Go change your diaper, put some more denture glue on, and just keep it fucking moving. But yeah, like, people were on the city bus filming us in line, and it's like, bitch, you're riding the city bus. You couldn't buy a ticket to come to this event if you wanted to. How dare you film me like I'm doing something crazy? You are riding the city bus. You are literally riding in a rolling porta potty. How dare you? How dare you? So yeah, the main problem were like the looky-loo assholes. They were the most annoying thing. And then something that I think would be a pet peeve of Jade's, and I just want to put this out there because I know it'll rile her up. There were people who came to the concert in their best K-pop merchandise that didn't necessarily belong to the group being discussed on the day. So there were some Blackpink t-shirts. There were some other group things going on. And I know for a fact I saw one girl carrying a GOT7 light stick in the crowd. Which, what? Is that what we're doing? Okay. I mean, no criticism, because I almost reached for my Big Bang t-shirt when I was packing, but I said nope because I might accidentally wear it, so I'm gonna leave it at the house. But yeah, I just thought that was a funny thing to mention because I know that's a pet peeve for a lot of people. But I saw this one girl with the coolest outfit on. Okay, so it is like blazing hot. It's 90 degrees, full on humidity. It ends up raining. Like, it is hotter than a motherfucker. It was like standing inside someone's mouth. And this girl had on the cutest outfit, even though I know she was fucking boiling. I know her drawers were wet from sweating. But she had on a pair of fishnets and knee-high leather boots, and she had on this yellow mini skirt with a matching yellow cropped hoodie shirt. The material was like sweatshirt material, that kind of thick sweatshirt material, but she had custom designed the shirt with like a black felt patch and like these little safety pins, and then she had made a felt what is this doll? She'd made a felt Jimin BT21 character on her shirt. It was the cutest thing ever. It was so cute. Like, if this had been like a November concert and it was kind of chilly outside, her outfit would be everything. But baby, it was hot. It was hot. And people were walking around in their BTS Letterman jackets with like full vinyl sleeves. They were walking around in fucking sweaters. And I'm just like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone? I'm sweating my balls off. And I don't even have balls. I'm sweating my titty balls off. Like, my drawers were wet by the time I got into the venue because I had been sweating and rained on. And the rain was hot rain. It wasn't even like, oh, I'm so refreshed now. A nice cool rain. No, it was like the sea had decided to just like lash out at me. I felt like I was being spit on. It was terrible. And people were out here in fucking sweaters. I don't understand it. That and like bitches in like tall ass platform heels. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't be calling you bitches because there was some men in some heels too. But the heels, I saw a lady walking like she was on a set of stilts. She had on a pair of 3-inch heels. Mama, where are you going? What are you doing? How is this reality? You can't be out here like this. This is not waiting in line appropriate apparel. How is this happening? But yeah, she was somebody who I would have been tempted to question, like, do you ever ask yourself why you're doing this? But then again, I was born and raised in a household of people who weren't wolves, so I know better than to make comments to strangers about the shit that they do when it's none of my fucking business. Oh, bitch. But yeah, I was just really surprised. But I mean, it was every manner of people that were out there. People came in. I saw one girl in a pink tutu with a Canadian flag wrapped around her neck like a cape. I saw one girl who was dressed like Heidi from the stories, like with like full lederhosen. I saw girls in leather. I saw girls in crop tops, girls in fishnets, girls in all banner of stuff. Boys, same thing. I saw boys in fishnets. I saw boys in heels. I saw boys with full faces of makeup on. And it's sweaty and hot outside. Full faces, like foundation, contour, eyebrows, everything. And I'm like, I can barely keep my skin on my face, much less trying to keep some makeup on my face and then trying to do it in the fucking rain. No ma'am, no sir. Oh yeah, there were people in line sleeping in tents the Saturday night I was there because they were GA for Sunday night. In tents, in the rain, outside the venue, in line for Sunday during the Saturday event. So yeah, no doubt people are lined up. No doubt. It's just the throng of humanity was intense. Some girl busted her ass in the rain when we were standing against the building trying to be under the awning to get out of the torrential downpour. Some girl was trying to run under the awning and she slipped and fell and hit her knee so hard. I just had to stop and ask her, are you okay? And I didn't even know this girl. I'm like, baby, are you all right? And her friend's like, are you sure you're okay? Do you need help? And she's like, no, I'm fine. And then like a few minutes later, I could hear her saying, actually, it really hurts. I think I tore my pants. I was just like, oh, you sweet thing. This is a bad night for you, but don't worry, it'll get better. You'll make it in the concert. Your knee will swell up, but it'll be fine in the morning. It's just a scratch. But yeah, like she hit that pavement hard. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it's just a good time. It's just waiting forever. Waiting forever was really, really tough. Really, really tough. And then like being in the merchandise line and watching people come out with like all the merch and having been like towards the back of the line thinking, fuck, I'm not going to get anything by the time I get in there. There was really not a lot to give. I've been trying to figure out like who do I know who still has concerts to go to that I might be able to throw money at to buy stuff for me. I just don't know. No, I did not do the photo booth. I didn't do the photo booth because I didn't know about the photo booth. And if you hadn't already registered for it, you couldn't just walk in and do it during the merchandise village. It was the one line that was like the shortest line out of the whole thing. And yeah, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. But yeah, I have to throw money at somebody who's going to be in line at one of these merchandise things because, first of all, I need some more of these now that I know that they're random. And I still want a piece of apparel. Like, I would prefer to get the hoodie because that's the thing I want. But if I can't get a hoodie, I prefer just like, you know, a 1X or a 2X t-shirt. That would be fine by me. But definitely more of these. This was the unsung hero of the night. Like these, they're only $10 a piece. They're well worth it. If you're one of those people who has to resell everything because you don't like happiness, these resell for a very high margin. Oh, and one of the eco bags. I really wanted one of the eco bags. They were $5 and they sold out so fast and they would have been so nice to have. But, you know, it is what it is. So Ashley, if you're not already signed up for the photo booth, you need to find a way to do it now because like I said, if you haven't already signed up, you can't do it that day. So that sucks. Because my daughter would have really liked to do that. She would have really enjoyed that quite a bit, but it didn't happen for us. So it is now close to midnight for me. For those of you on the East Coast, it's probably close to 2 a.m. in the morning, or 1 a.m. in the morning, I think. So I'm not going to hold you for too much longer. I think I've said everything I have to say at this point about my concert experience. I can't think of anything else I could talk about. The convention center was a nice venue. I mean, it was a really nice venue. I've never gone to a concert there. Good morning. I've never gone to a concert there, but it was a nice time to be had by anybody who wanted to have that time. Um, I look forward to seeing how everyone does for the concerts that happened, that are scheduled to happen later on down the line. But yeah, it was fun, and I've already said kind of everything I needed to say. Yes, I'm already finished. Sorry about that, but that's okay because I'm going to keep this up so you can rewatch it later on if you just have like an hour to kill. I think I've said everything I need to say, but K-pop concerts, go to them if you can. They're a lot of fun. Even if there's no pyrotechnics involved, it's still a lot of fun. You know, it's nice to be around your people. So that's for sure. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for being supportive. I know that I am definitely not the demographic that BTS caters to, and the excitement level that I would have for an event like this is probably very different than somebody who registers themselves as an army, or somebody who is maybe younger and has more spare time to keep up with the V Lives and the Run BTS and all the other stuff. I don't have that kind of time. I'm definitely more casual when it comes to the non-musical side of being a BTS fan, but this was an event that was very enjoyable for me. It was very precious for me. It did a lot for me in terms of getting me back reconnected with BTS and putting the focus where it deserved to be, which was the music. Um, and I just really, I wouldn't trade it. I had to sacrifice a few different things to make this work, and at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it. I'm very, very grateful for having the opportunity to go and to see and to hear and to do and be a part of. And I recommend it for anybody if you can do it. It's definitely, definitely worth it. Um, yeah, it definitely puts the focus back on what it needs to be, which is not fans and bullshit and stuff like that. The focus is the music, and this is a great reminder of all of their amazing music, all the music they didn't play that I thought of on the ride home. Like the very next day, well, not Sunday because I was tired, I didn't listen to anything on Sunday, but Monday morning, the first thing I wanted to listen to was the Dark and Wild album. Like I had a distinct need to listen to that album one more time, just because seeing them live reminded me how much good music they didn't perform that I adore and I needed to hear. So yeah, it definitely reconnected me with the most fundamental part of being a fan, and that is the music. So again, thank you for watching. You guys have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.